Last week we started a conversation that delved into the realities of funeral service provision in the face of a pandemic. We had Nyaradzo Group in studio who gave us insights into the realities of what it's been like for them as a service provider in a season where death visited our nation like never experienced before in our lifetime. May all our dearly departed rest in peace, and may their families be comforted in this season. With the increased number of deaths, public perception was that service providers like Nyaradzo must have milked it and made fortunes from the increased number of funerals that passed through their hands. That was but an illusion. According to Nyaradzo, the deceased do not contribute to their pocket. We spoke to a florist whom we thought would have made a lot of money because of the funerals as well. Again, an illusion, because with the lockdown was inability to travel, loss of business, and loss of merchandise. In fact, according to Tongai, so the florist right now is currently at a loss of whence to go to from here. Sure. So this week we continue that conversation, burying the dead funeral service providers speak. But things have somewhat shifted since last week following the announcement by His Excellency the President of the Republic, Comrade Mnangagwa, an announcement that eased lockdown regulations in view of the improving COVID situation. We remind you, our viewers, that easing of lockdown measures is not evidence of departure of the disease. Please continue to look after yourselves and to observe safety protocols and recommendations. Dinonji rejoice Naranda Makawa alongside Sokostina and Siposisland Love One Sign Language. You see, it's Women's Month.
Right.
And it's a women's set.
Right.
And we are doing us.
Right.
Myself, Soko,
Yes.
Nasibo, Zedu.
How could one not be absolutely excited to be on a set like this? Indeed, we're doing something different, something amazing, something crazy, and it's amazing to be on the same set with you. Rejoice. We usually are not together, but today we come together because it's Women's Month. So it's all things plus size, because, you know, two thick girls holding it down on television.
Super size.
Super size. Just says, of course, let's not get carried away. It's International Women's Day on the 8th of March 2021. But today,
edition of Issues-Pane on the 8th.
But I thought this is us being special.
Yeah.
You mean on the actual 8th?
On the actual day.
Okay, so
when
we'll
is Men's Month? Is there a Men's Month?
I honestly don't care if there's one.
They don't deserve it.
No, well, you would, because you care about them. You know, I myself, you know.
Back to death and burying the dead.
It is International Women's Day on the 8th of March, and this whole of March we're celebrating women doing amazing things, great things, and women who are excelling in all their areas of influence. But of course today we are celebrating Nyaradzo for 20 years, and Nyaradzo has been doing amazing work from the time when we gave birth. It's all women, and of course when Nyaradzo takes over, women are right there in the forefront, burying our loved ones, saying farewell to them, and of course making sure that the family is fed and the family is warm. Today we are excited to have Gina, a female Nyamanindi Uyundeo kwa Mtarejeto. Gina is the Nyaradzo Group Counselor, and I'm sure she's here to tell us more about what she does Kunyaradzo. And you know what? She's a group counselor, and I just rejoice.
I need counseling.
You do need counseling. You do know
I do. I didn't cancer.
Oh no, but you drop this all the time. You can't drop dine cancer all the time. It's not fair.
It's true.
Nigina, what do you think? You're a counselor. This one is always dropping dine cancer. And I always lose because she says makumbo uchafamba, but cancer.
Cancer is terminal, Gina.
I think you both need counseling.
Well, welcome to Issues-Pane, Nyaya, Gina. Do tell us about yourself and, of course, about Nyaradzo.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. Good afternoon. Like you said, my name is Gina Nyamanindi from Rosaze.
Jizozo.
So I work for Nyaradzo as the group's counselor.
Right. What does
Yes.
that entail? What does being a group counselor entail?
Okay, it means I'm the counselor for the group. I take care of the emotional and the psychological needs of our employees.
Right.
So apart from,
So you said it's just for the emotional of the employees, Chete.
not just the employees,
Okay.
but
Sorry,
remember we also have our clients.
I'm thinking whilst you are there, Gina. We asked this question last week when Justin was here, and he skated around it because we really appreciated. There must be a lot of trauma and a lot of wellness needs that go with. It can't be easy dealing with the dearly departed on a day-to-day basis. It must be traumatic.
I can't.
Yes,
I can't.
I can only imagine.
I can't.
It is, and not just for the women, but for everyone, at large. This is why Nyarazo has this component within the company. It's not just to take care of the clients that we serve, but also to take care of our staff members.
Right. So the clients also have access to you. Give
Indeed.
us, on a normal day, what would happen in your office?
Okay, I have clients that would have booked in for a session. And these clients may come because they have lost a loved one and there are issues surrounding the loss that they would have suffered. It could be the loss was traumatic. It could be there are, conflicts within the family due to the loss that has happened. Or it could be any other issues that families, may face. Like take, for example, this program that we are having. Because we are out there, people know that this is a service within Nyarazo. They know that they can access this service. So they simply call in to make an appointment, either virtual or, face-to-face, on a good day before the COVID pandemic, or a face-to-face session where we then sit down and we talk about the issues that are troubling them or that are challenging them in their lives.
Right.
Is this for only after a bereavement? Because I'm a member, I'm a client. Ndine policy yangu Nyarazo. So, and I have cancer. And I anticipate that death could befall me at any time. So is it possible for me to access this service even before I'm dead?
Very much so. Nyarazo believes that, people need to lead a quality life. We don't just take care of the dear departed. We want to also take care of you whilst you are still alive so that you lead a quality life.
Not
and
really.
Sometimes,
it's because you get more money when she's alive anyway.
But now, do you realize what you've just done, Gina, on national television? You've just told everybody with the Nyarazo policy that you're open for them to come through for counseling. And there's a lot of mental health issues out there. Are you sure you're not creating a problem for yourself?
Not at all. We are fully capacitated to deal with that. We actually do some programs that even bring in more clients than what we are talking about right now.
This is amazing because I didn't know this facility was available. I also am on Nyarazo, and sometimes it is actually expensive to go and access mental health anyway in the country.
Yes.
So if you're saying part of my package in these 20 years that I didn't know, I could actually access Gina and talk to her about things that are troubling me, like Rejoice keeps dropping cancer in everything that we do.
Very much so.
I can. Rejoice.
This is the selling point. I'm going to do a bit of marketing now for Nyarazo, honestly.
Right.
Because if they're offering this service, my research tells me that in the entire nation of Zimbabwe, we've only got 15 psychiatrists. 15.
Right.
And so, and I'm looking at COVID. and looking at post-COVID.
Yes.
And there's been so much trauma, not even just for those people who've lost family members, but all of us have been traumatized in one way or another.
Yes.
Yes.
And yet, in our culture, in our tradition, we don't acknowledge mental health as an issue.
Right.
And I'm thinking beyond the COVID season, whenever that is going to be, just picture the level of mental health issues that we will have, the need to access a service. So if you're out there and you do not have a policy, then maybe it's a good space for you to go and invest in a policy that comes with mental health.
Gina, I want to find...
You don't have to have a policy with us for you to access that service.
What? Please repeat that, Gina.
You don't have to have a policy with us. Like I'm saying, it's part of our giving back to the community
Yes.
where we
my
operate.
God.
Yes.
Saka munhu ari kungofamba right now muna Herbert Chitepo ari kupfuura panyaradzo right now ari kuona paFacebook pake issues pane nyaya akatongotena pakagedhi paya paya akatopinda akati ndoda kuisawo appointment. That's it. They can then just come back. And is it free?
Yes, very much so.
Gina, International Women's Day just got better because I know a lot of women, and I know Rejoice said post-COVID, but I know right now there are people who are under so much stress, they're not even sure what it is.
Just being a woman is a stress.
Absolutely. So, and Gina, that is exciting for me personally to say that
Great.
it's a free service. Anyone can walk in, no matter where you are in Zimbabwe. So what happens to those that are on your SIP? Do they do the virtual ones?
Yes, we do that. Even if they are not on SIP, on SIP, as we call it, they can even access it virtually. So you don't have to be on SIP only for you to access the services virtually.
SIP,
you can do that whilst you are local.
What's SIP?
Sawira International Plan.
You can't start using acronyms
because
here.
You know what? Nyara square up as ZTN. Saka, we are thinking everybody knows us.
No, we don't know
okay,
what SIP is.
Sawira International Plan.
And the other one?
It's access to those in the diaspora who want to make sure that those that at home or themselves can be repatriated when someone has passed on, or when they are there, if somebody dies and they cannot make it home, they still facilitate to make sure that that person is buried.
Oh, right.
Right. So that's why I was asking Gina that virtually, how then will one access you? Where do they go? Let's say if they're in the UK and they think Munari Kumusha is the one who understands this particular problem, how do they get in touch with you from outside the country?
They can do that through our page, Facebook page. You know, they simply book an appointment and then, that's it.
So do we have counselors in all the offices across, wherever there's a Nyaradzo office? Is there a resident counsellor there?
We do have part-time counselors that we use, that we call upon when there is need.
Whenever there's an issue.
Pane Nyaya.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, Gina, I also want us to talk about you per se as a person who has got the shoulder to carry all our weight. What happens to you? Who do you talk
It's not
to?
little weight, by the way. It's a lot of
And
weight.
it's not Anna Rejoice, it's not little weight to put you on there. Imagine 5 of us, 5 of Rejoices and Sokostina are there. Who do you talk to? Where do you debrief?
I also have my own counselor.
Okay.
Yes, because I'm a person first before I'm a counselor. Yes. So if there are any issues, let's say to debrief, like you rightfully said, you know, I have people that I can call upon to say, you know what, I need to talk.
Right.
Yes.
Well, we are taking a break because we need to talk to you, Kuseri, and then we'll come back right after the break.
Sure.
Nyaradzo, we strive to continuously bring convenience to our clients. Nyaradzo Group is proud to introduce Sawi, a new virtual chatbot assistant on WhatsApp. With Sawi, you are now able to interact with us from the comfort of your home and can be assisted anytime via WhatsApp. With life assurance products, diaspora products, applying and assessing your policy, payment platforms, claims information, and any other queries concerning payments, policy information, or products and services. Simply WhatsApp Sawi on +263 712 992892 or register and start interacting and receiving notifications from Sawi on WhatsApp. Now, join in and experience a new level of convenience 24 hours a day with Sawi.
Losing the person I loved the most was one of the hardest things I've ever had to face.
And because I was away from home, it made it much more difficult.
That is when I saw how important it is to have a friend.
A friend to ease the burden.
A friend to take care of things when you can't.
A friend to help you get home.
Welcome back to the second segment of Issues-Pane, where we are talking about a not so morbid conversation today, even though we're talking to Nyaradzo funeral. Today's program is powered by Nyaradzo. We have Jenna with us, who is just sharing. We have good news out there. In fact, as Issues-Pane, we are offering all women out there who might need support, mental health support, if you need counseling, we're offering you through Nyaradzo. The Nyaradzo nearest to you. All you have to do is walk in, go to their Facebook page, make an appointment, and just quote. You need to quote the code Issues-Pane to access your free. What was it?
Because that is so alive. You know, I can't believe you, Rejoice. You're piggy banking on this.
Well, if we'd not had the conversation on Issues-Pane, how would we have known
Absolutely,
that this
right.
is a service that is available to anybody and everybody? You don't even need to have a policy with Nyaradzo to access it.
I just want to find out from Gina, of course, the range of counselors that you have. Before, of course, this one has a story about men that she wants to talk about. But are there people who cater for the millennials, for the children, for the older people? Because sometimes people can be condescending and very judgy as counselors.
Any counselor knows that when they are dealing with children, whether teenagers or young adults, they need to go down to the level of whoever they are talking to. Any counselor is trained to do that.
Okay.
They know, yes. It's part of the training. You can't say you are speaking to a 54-year-old and then the same way that you would talk to a 10-year-old is the same way that you are. No, it doesn't work like that.
So conversations are age appropriate.
Yes.
And it covers the whole family.
Even the language that you use, it has to be age appropriate.
Okay.
If you come to my office and I'm dealing with a child, unotondoona ndakatogara pakapeti pasi tichitamba nemidhori nemota tichitaura. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Very interesting. Now we are in Women's Month, and we want to keep coming back to the women's issues. A question that I want to find out is, you've got loads of women, right, working within Nyaradzo?
Yes.
Can we confirm that gender has been effectively mainstreamed into Nyaradzo? Because for us, otherwise, activism.
You know, Nyaradzo is an equal employer.
Okay.
So if you have what it takes, you have the documents, you have the capability, why not?
Are there specific jobs that are kept aside for women? So the cleaning, the tea. By the way, we have tea here, and we have an extra cup for you, Gina.
Thank you.
Are there specific jobs that are female-centered? Kanakuti, any woman can do anything because an undertaking what is
Any woman can take whatever job that they have been trained or are capable to do. We have women undertakers. We have women bus drivers.
Yes. Amai votoswera kubasa vachigeza the daily departed vozoyakumbawabika sadza hazvina tabu here zvinoitwa sei. How do they cleanse themselves before they get home?
You know, that's the cultural aspect of what we are dealing with. But remember, this has been socialized into us, thinking that it is taboo, thinking that it's not something that should be done by any normal person.
So are you saying that we do not take into consideration the culture? Because sometimes culture does not come from Norway, Gina. There's a trace of why people thought that after Wapedzaku, I'm always inappropriate with Shona. After you've finished taking care of the dearly departed, then you kutuzonotanga futi kubika. There is, you know, zviya zvekuzonze azoisa mvura yemufi muchikafu, azoita all that. How do you protect people with that? Or, you know, taking into consideration that Nyaradzo has a lot of women that also still have to go home and do their stereotypical gender roles.
You know, even men do that kind of work.
Okay.
Including kubika kwacho. So I don't see any reason why it should then focus on women only.
Okay.
Because we have men who are undertakers who will also go and cook.
That's true.
Yes.
But now that then just gets me thinking, Soko, about female undertakers.
Yes.
Because this must be a new phenomenon. I don't know that if I told my grandmother when I was finishing my A-levels, I think there'd have been problems in terms of that because it would have been said to be a men's domain.
Gina?
You know, such things will always be there. We are not denying that. But it's up to us who are enlightened to then educate the people that are around us that this is a job like any other job.
So, Gina, I'm curious. I'm the curious one here. Munupari interview kuzoita undertaker kunyaradzo. Are there things like Soko is too serious or Soko is too funny, she can't be an undertaker? Because me, I'm always joking, you know what I mean? So do you have these things that there's a certain persona that you need for people to work at Nyaradzo, especially around the deceased?
I wouldn't say a certain persona as such, but I just want to pose a question to you. If you are going for an interview yourself,
yes,
would you joke like you are doing now?
Yes.
You would?
Yes.
Well, so you wouldn't get a job?
Which job are you talking about? I mean, don't just say
as an undertaker.
As an undertaker, I'm not going to go there because I can't do undertaking. I'm too funny and too not serious to be an undertaker. Basically, that's what I'm saying.
Know, part of being professional is knowing when to put a certain hat on.
Yeah.
And
that's why a lot of people then lack professionalism.
You need to know when to put on the hat of an undertaker.
I just think
when to put on the hat of, you know, a presenter or, you know, an MC or whatever. Yeah. You know, you should be able to juggle those hats.
I hear you.
You then can't say you are at a funeral and, you know, you are busy cracking jokes. Yes, you may crack jokes in order to lighten the mood. just so that people, you know, have hope.
Says
you know,
Neta
but
akampira.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think, Gina, I'll be one of the women who definitely wouldn't make it. That interview.
But I
would
guess
not
like
make
any
it.
job, there are people that can do. Somebody like me could never be a bus driver, for example, not because I can't, but because I choose not to. So I guess it's about choice. It's about what you want to do and what you don't want to do. But I keep wanting to think about, you know, to just touch on this gendered issue around socialization and the jobs that we do. And I'm just trying to think, Kuti, what would happen if we had no women in the world and it was just the men that were doing all the jobs?
What is your point, Rejoice?
My
There's
point
no
is,
point here.
you've got women like Gina,
Yeah.
who would obviously be bringing sanity and order into a space. I'm not saying that, you know,
Men can't.
men can't do it. But men have always wanted us to stay at home.
Right.
Men have always dictated that the woman's place is behind the ironing board and behind the sink and that whatever, right? So they've always been those dictates. But now here we have women working in a male domain, you know, according to what people would ordinarily say.
Right.
Yeah, and yet we are finding that this is being totally demystified, and there are women, they're undertakers. What about grave diggers and all those other things?
Can I point something out to you, ladies?
Please do.
You know, long back, let's say during around the 1860s, it was women who then were in the care work of taking care of the dead.
Okay.
Why? Because all the men had gone to war. Remember, we have been having wars ever since who knows when. So certain jobs that were, you know, initially men's jobs were then taken over by women because the men were in the battlefield.
Right.
So you will find that women have been taking care of the dear departed as early as those years. Those men that would then die in the battlefield, pavanouya kumba or pavaiuya kumba, there were no men to then take care of or prepare the bodies. So it was the women who were doing that.
You are so right, Gina, you know, and it's not even just a historical issue. Nakafira kumumba, yes, you know, in our local context, kumushauku, munakafira mumba, anogezwa ne madzimai, even now as we speak. So you're spot on.
Even during the birthing process, it's the women who used to help the other woman give birth. And back then, there was high mortality. You know, the babies would die. Who would then take care of those babies? It was the women.
Right.
Those that were assisting in the birthing process, they would take care of that.
Yeah, no,
Well,
you're correct. You're spot on. So now we've had the transition from a space where COVID was just hitting, and we had no vaccines. But we are now in a place where we are, vaccines have started and people are being vaccinated. Is there a plan in Nyaradzo, because you are frontliners? How is that panning out?
We have already started, vaccinating our people. But remember, this is a voluntary exercise. Okay. You are not forced. You know, maybe at this juncture, let me just clarify a little bit about vaccinations.
Please do.
We have always, you know, taken our babies for vaccines, right?
Yes.
Have we ever questioned kuti saka vaccine hiyo inei yazoita sei yazobii, and we give them paracetamol before they go there? Why? Because tinoziva kuti achapisa mwiri, handiti? Iye zvinezvi zvasiyana chete nekuti rauya takura. But when we were vaccinated tiri vana, we never even questioned it.
Dambudziko raitika, Gina, is that we have so many medical doctors now on social media.
Yes.
And they've
Yes.
ma doctorate, ma professorship, and whatever else, the highest
Matheory awo
levels.
akasiyana-siyana.
Right. And so everybody knows so much about vaccines. Everybody all of a sudden now knows so much about COVID, knows so much about the mutations, the strains, and what have used the mark of the beast. There's just so many theories around it. And I think it's really important, that we begin to couch these conversations. So, because a lot of people are not going to go forward. Kana kuti vanongotaurawo pasocial media vozoenda nerweseri, I don't know. But the atmosphere and environment that has been created on social media generally is one that says to people, ukangonobaya wakutofa. Meanwhile, ukangobata COVID yacho pamwe wakutofa anyway.
Well,
so how the balancing
I think there is a balance, because a lot of my friends are going to be vaccinated. They're showing off their cards. They're making a whole swag situation out of going to get vaccinated. I think it was also important for us to find out how does it affect different people with different conditions. It's a question that we all need to answer. Or not all of us, somebody needs to answer those questions. Like, when you have other terminal lung, you've got cancer, how does that go and work with the person who has cancer? All those things. I think as we ignore just because there was a vaccine, ndakabaiwa polio ndiri mdiki, so I shouldn't panic because it's now COVID.
I think it's a matter of education, ladies.
Yeah.
The moment you educate people about a certain thing, remember, we reject things because we have no information pertaining those things. That's why we reject them. But upon education, you will find that such a person will then make an informed decision, because they are then they have grasped some information that they didn't have before, that has helped them to make that informed decision.
Well, before we find out a very informed decision, let's take a break, and then we'll come back and finish this conversation with Gina, right?
Yep. Generally, society has a tendency of shying away from tackling matters that disrupt the status quo. Instead, such discussions are either avoided. As a result, attitudes are created and truth reinvented. On this platform, we dare to venture into those territories. This is Issues-Pane Nyaya.
Losing the person I loved the most was one of the hardest things I've ever had to face.
And because I was away from home, it made it much more difficult.
That is when I saw how important it is to have a friend.
A friend to ease the burden.
A friend to take care of things when you can't.
A friend to help you get home.
As Nyaradzo, we strive to continuously bring convenience to our clients. Nyaradzo Group is proud to introduce Sawi, a new virtual chatbot assistant on WhatsApp. With Sawi, you are now able to interact with us from the comfort of your home and can be assisted anytime via WhatsApp. With life assurance products, diaspora products, applying and assessing your policy, payment platforms, claims information, and any other queries concerning payments, policy information, or products and services. Simply WhatsApp Sawi on +263 712 992892 or register and start interacting and receiving notifications from Sawi on WhatsApp. Now, join in and experience a new level of convenience 24 hours a day with Sawi.
Welcome back to the third and final segment of Issues-Pane Nyaya, powered by Nyaradzo, as we celebrate their 20th anniversary, as well as we celebrate women all over the world in this Women's Month. And Nonze Rejoice Naranda Makawa, co-hosting with me is Sokostina, and on sign language we have Siposihle Ndlovu. We also have with us online Nyaradzo Group Councillor Gina, who is joining us virtually. Gina, I'm just trying to come to terms with all this women undertaking, Wakadzi, Pasichigare, diverse culture, us just embracing the new realities and what have yous. But just to bring the conversation back to the context of our current setting, we've seen death in this year like never ever before in my 50 Chakazenge years. Families were losing loved ones, sometimes by the double or even more. How did that whole process pan out from your perspective as a counsellor within Nyaradzo?
Okay, you said earlier on that if ever there was a time that counseling is in need of to be out there amongst the people, it's right now. Going forward, it's actually going to have to be the pivotal or the center of everything that we are going to be doing. Why? Because there's been multiple losses, not just through the death caused by COVID-19, but people have lost many other things.
Jobs.
That yes. Income, you name it.
Yeah.
School children have lost, time kuchikoro and all that. All those are losses, and the grief process of loss is the same everywhere.
Right.
Whether it's somebody who has died, or you have lost a job, or you have lost a spouse, or you have lost, you name it, something that is dear to you. We all go through a grief process. But with COVID-19, the important thing that we should note is there have been, lots of losses, multiple losses. Remember, we are used to, congregating, kuenda kunhamo, toungana face-to-face interaction, tohagana, toita funeral work, tozoenda kumakuwa, and all that. But all that has been eroded because of COVID-19.
Right.
So the end result is acceptance that death has happened is going to be difficult for a lot of people. Why? Because they were not able to partake all those rituals that enabled them to cope and accept that their loved one is no longer there.
And to have closure, yeah.
Closure is a big thing.
Yes.
So, now that we have you here, there are also people on social media. Go and follow us across all social medias, ZTN News, and you'll find us even on Issues-Pane Nyaya. And I'm reading some of the messages that are there on our Facebook page. There's someone here who says, wow, this is very informative. Another one says, did you always have these services at Nyaradzo, or these are a new introduction for counseling? Let's start with that one.
Okay, counseling has always been there since 2010, 2011. Yes. It has always been there. It has been part of our services. It's only that under normal circumstances, as Africans or Black Africans, we then don't, accept counseling as, part of the grief and the bereavement process.
Why is
I'm
that?
just taking offense at Black Africans.
No,
it's true.
they will get over it.
Okay, so I hope John Kariwo heard that it has always been there. I think what is important to highlight, Gina, is it wasn't as well advertised until today on
Until
Issues-Pane
Issues-Pane,
Nyaya.
Nyaya.
We didn't know
Actually,
that.
it was.
No?
It was.
I
It's
didn't
only
know
that on
I
about
didn't
it.
different
even know about
platforms.
it, and I know things.
Like I'm
I
saying,
know
it's on
things.
different platforms.
Akuna, Gina, if it didn't reach my ear or Rejoice's ear, let's just say it was not advertised. Because I think I'm a sponge for information. And if I knew this,
For
trust me.
freebies.
Yes, because my own boss, hey, has highlighted to me, Tendai, go and get counseling.
Yeah.
Was after the car accident, I've never gone for counseling. And now, if I had known it was free at Nyaradzo, they don't go to every Thursday, Mascati, na 3:30.
But you bring up an interesting point there, because is it perpetual, or is there a limit to the number of sessions that one can have, Gina?
You know, it depends on the issues. The whole purpose of counseling is to equip you with skills so that you are able to stand on your own 2 feet. So
Yes.
depending on the progress that we are making, that then will determine how many sessions that we have to sit down with you.
Okay, so how, I mean, you can't decide that on the onset. I am guessing there has to be a recurring number of sessions you're going to have with me before you decide that Tendai does need this number of counseling sessions.
Usually after the first session, we can then map the way forward on how often we are going to meet and for how long.
And I think this is
Then-
important.
Then we are in agreement
Yeah, there are
so
lot.
that we plan accordingly.
Inini ndichitongo ndibukai. I just need to go for counseling.
You are most welcome to come.
Let me read another one from Tendai Chimudzura. Says, Inindrukuda more information about this because I did not know that this was available for Nyaradzo. Even Rachel Mabusa says the same, says, I didn't know this was available to us. I'm excited and I want to access this information. So tell us again, Gina, how does one access counseling from Nyaradzo?
Okay, they can go to our Facebook page. They can call us on the numbers that they normally use. They can even walk into any branch and they may be linked with me on how they can access the counseling service.
Okay.
Wonderful. And as we round up, Gina, what final words do you have to advise especially our women viewers, since it's International Women's Month, about how they can rise above society's expectations of what a woman or who a woman should be and where her place should be?
You know, as women, we have a lot of, things that we go through as women. And because of that, there is need to have a sounding board, so to speak. When you are faced with certain issues, just have a sounding board where you can bounce off your ideas or your thoughts. Sometimes you need to hear yourself speak so that you know how you are feeling, you know what you are going through, you appreciate what you have gone through. So many women bottle up issues and end up bitter because they have failed to deal with the issues that they have been through.
That is so true.
That is so true. We are taught kushingirira nekunyararira. But I must say it's been a really good conversation. Thank you so much, Gina. Zvinhu zvese nhasi zvanga zvingori double trouble, double size. Thank you so much for coming on to the conversation. And
My
we must
pleasure.
remind our viewers out there, our audiences out there, that lockdown regulations may have been eased, but the virus is still out there. Any words from you on that, Gina?
Yes, sure. Remember, COVID is still there. Just because the regulations have been eased, it doesn't mean it no longer exists. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Take care of your community.
And we'll be saying the same to you, Gina. Take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, and take care of your community. Once again, congratulations to Nyaradzo and happy Women's Month to all the women out there. Tinokudai murambe makasumuka, rambai mchingoita zvamunoita, zvinoita chete soko. It's now time to say goodbye to Gina. Thank you so much, Gina. We look forward to having you back. And to all the women out there, let's go out, let's shine. Musachengetedze, musambunyikidzwe makanyarara. Nyaradzo iriko kuti muende kucounseling, vana Gina available kuti munodurura zvinenge zviri pamoyo, motaura zvinenge zvichikunetsai. They are available there. And I'm just being reminded here kuti hanzi simukai madzimai, shanda ibata-batai, musamirire vana baba kuti vaunze zvese kumba, munokwanisa, you are not incapable. Basa renyu harisingorire kubara chete, asi munogona kutosimukawo muchiita zvinobatika. Ndinonzi Rejoice nharaunda makaiwa, together with my co-host Soko Stina and Siposile Ndlovu on sign language. This show was powered by the Nyaradzo Group. From all of us here at Issues-Pane Nyaya, happy Women's Month. Stay safe and be good. Till next time, goodbye.